Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode from the Unfiltered Party. I'm White Noise 401 today, and we have my co-owners.
Zaire.
Neo X.
Alrighty, let's get down to the topic for today. Now, last week's was pretty surprising, and I'm not gonna lie, it gave us a lot to talk about. And so this week's gonna be a little different. So today's topic of today is sound like fucking Sesame Street, but
Brought to you by the
like
letter
yeah,
A.
brought to you by the letter A for asshole. But but anyway, today's topic for today is anime. Oh yeah.
There's
Hey.
a lot to
Hey.
say
Now,
about that.
yeah, considering there's a lot of genre of animes that's been produced from going as far back as from the 50s to now. Now, in terms of animation wise also there's been a significant change compared to like most notably I'm gonna say well, let me give you an example of like how the animation has progressed. Take season one of the Indigo League Pokemon now, compare it to Sun and Moon that's going on right now.
Ooh.
The animation sequence and as well as the backdrop images that you see in the background, they're completely they're completely stylish. Everything's detailed down to the narrowest margin as far as lighting, coloration, all these things is just but a prime example of how anime has become from a long from this long lineage of betterment. And there's certain animes that are doing it well. Others, unfortunately, can't quite transition to that kind of change. And I understand that because
Like
there's
Pokemon.
certain anime. No, no. Let me tell you one that didn't quite capture that change immediately, and it's High School DxD. Don't get
Wow.
me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's not on the same genre level as like when I talked about in Pokemon, but animation wise, and I know you've noticed this, by the time the fourth season came out, the animation went completely different than the first three seasons. And in my opinion, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It was just a horrible change.
It was a quick change for you then. It was like
Like, like don't get me wrong. Art style changing is one thing, but when the animation sequence is like not on par with its previous season, that's a little bit of a problem.
do you mean by art style or do you mean by storyline?
No, 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 no. We're talking
It's
about
the
animation right now.
animation.
Oh,
Animation wise,
animation.
In terms of the way
like
everything's
fight
animated.
scenes, and this is the reason because from what I understood, around the third season afterwards, Funimation had bought out the contract, so which would explain the different art style. And I'm like, that's fine. The art style's fine. I didn't really griped about that too much because
Hmm.
that's to be expected when you get bought out by another company.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
the animation fighting sequence styles, that's what kind of ruined it.
What, like it downgraded? It was like cheaper or shorter?
It it just looked cheap. Like
Compared to the season
compared to the
before.
first three seasons, it looked absolutely cheap.
Because my thing
Do
is
you think
that
it has something to do with the creators themselves? Or do you think they just got lazy?
no, they just had to change it. That's why. To me, it was like
No, no,
to me, they only changed it because it's like they felt obligated to. But I
yeah,
just but I think I think they didn't know how to go and change that kind of style and to keep that certain aspect of the fighting animations.
Do you think
yeah.
it was just a rush instead of just taking their time?
No, 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 no. The thing is that it wasn't about whether or not they rushed or not. It was just the transition of of them trying to change it. It just didn't work. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Now, if this was the art style for every season, okay, that works. But you coming from one style and then to another style, and when you try to mesh them together and they're not meshing, it just doesn't work.
They don't fit. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really have much of an opinion on High School DxD because I personally I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, this
But
isn't about
no,
high
no,
school
no, I
DxD
know that.
anyway.
I know that, but for what I've seen in terms of animation, like the first couple of seasons of some of the episodes I've seen, they've been pretty good. But then, like the last one, it changed drastically.
That's what I'm saying. Because the fourth season didn't transition the animation sequences very well, and when they had that huge upgrade, it just kind of felt like it flopped because it
To
didn't
be
transition well.
to
Not
be
like
honest,
Pokemon. Pokemon made the transition really well, despite the fact that it's very long.
yeah,
But it transitioned very well. Its
it still
formula,
fit in with the
what
same
became,
concept.
yeah,
It's the
Well,
same
its formula
concept.
was slowly, it was slowly marinating over time until
well,
you got used to it.
well, I kind of have a different opinion on that, but that's something else.
Yeah, yeah.
Because my only problem with Pokemon is like the last couple of seasons after Sinnoh.
Oh, we're not talking about
no,
we're
I
not
know
talking
that.
about story
No,
lore.
no, I know that, but like I'm saying, like besides that, in terms of animations, what I hate is the latest one or the one before that one.
Yeah.
They just made it more PG. They're focusing more
No,
on kids
not
than
even that.
other people.
The art style killed it for me. It really killed it for me. When I saw the art
It's a
style the
bubble
first
art
time,
style. That's the way I see it.
when they changed it, to me it's like a downgraded hard. To me, it looks almost like borderline Hamtaro animations.
Yeah. Yeah, but at least, like I said, at least with Pokemon, I'll give it this. They did it over time. They didn't do it right
It
away.
kept the concept.
I would
It
give
never changed
I would give one
anything.
example of a good anime that has really evolved their fighting animations, and that'll be Dragon Ball.
Ooh, Jesus! What's with that face?
No, because he's right. He's
Oh,
right.
I'm about to say you had this.
Because
I don't.
Despite the fact that the story is somewhat in question towards me, but I can't deny the fact
and it's
that
kind of
the
confusing
animations
also.
for Dragon Ball, for the Dragon Ball Super series especially, it
Mhm.
changed dramatically.
It was great.
I mean, if you think about it, the good thing about that, it did not only change a little bit the art style, but also the concept itself, different dimensions. They added from different characters from different dimensions, so that it makes more sense instead of just adding everything. Like, when did this happen? Like, you
Well,
didn't even know. Like,
well, the thing is that you gotta remember that when it came to the old Dragon Ball series, they kind of had a timeline kind of mixed up for a little bit when they went from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball
Hmm.
GT. It was a little bit confusing where they were going with all of that because it's like some of the things you've seen it's like not even part of canon. So that kind of
Yeah,
confused. That kind of confused. Well, it confused me a lot.
for me, Dragon
yeah,
Ball Super was one of those animes that just try to make sense of everything they've released throughout the past year.
yeah. Another major problem with animes, especially when it was becoming more mainstream in the '90s, is because the dubbing because of the dubbing companies at the time,
And
Funimation,
censorship.
yeah, and censorship, there were certain episodes that were kind of hard to introduce, or certain series that were kind of hard to get their hands on so they could dub.
Or
One of those
also,
was Dragon Ball Z,
or also,
and at times it was Pokemon too, because they banned like 2 episodes,
or
no,
also
3 episodes they
also
banned.
cut content also
Hmm.
Can I use one example?
of what?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
That too, season zero.
Oh yeah,
That-
that was more darker than the original series when
Yeah.
they
but
first
still, they
introduced it.
cut it out. They didn't show it. What was it? It wasn't even Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It was just Gamble,
No,
right?
at first it was
No,
like games
no.
in general, but then it went from there. Then they introduced
Like season zero, this is just my opinion. Season zero, I mean, Yugi and Yami look like they're freaking drunk.
they're on drugs,
Like they're
That's
on
one.
drugs, hardcore drugs.
or
That's one
or
good example of the animation
or
change.
the art style of Kaiba. He was green.
And then what? But besides all that, you want to know who's my favorite character out of that
Who?
in that series? Honda, also known as Tristan. That
What?
dude is the funniest in the series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. He's the
He was more
funniest
useful.
character. No. He was
still the
just
same.
straight up comedy. Straight up comedy
He was one
to
of
the
those,
high standard.
he was like one of those funny guys from typical anime series.
He
No,
kind of
he's
sounds.
one of those brainless idiots where he has a big monumental revelation happen to him, and then you know what he does next? I can't believe that happened. Oh, I'm gonna go do it again anyway.
To me, he kind of reminds me of Ed from Ed and Eddie.
No.
He's your first male
He's not
airhead.
Ed. Look, he's not Ed. He's
Wow.
just like,
He's
He was
special.
a
really, what are
comedy
you doing?
relief, bro. He was a comedy relief.
Bro, he made that series funny.
But you want to know something though? Remember the character that they cut completely from Yu-Gi-Oh? The one from season 0,
Who?
the female character.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, she had a crush on Tristan.
He
But-
lost the interest.
it doesn't exist anymore.
No, okay. Season 0 exists, but to get your hands on to get your hands on Season 0 in general is pretty hard.
Especially now. Back then it was pretty easy to see on YouTube,
Easy.
but then they like took it down and stuff.
Yeah.
Censorship. Oh my god.
Konami Konami pretty much ordered the whole shutdown of Season 0 because
It went hard.
once they
went
revamped
hard.
it
Yeah.
and they came out with the Duelist Kingdom Saga, then that's when everything changed. But even then,
Marketing.
that-
It's all about marketing, bro.
but even then, I'm like this. I'm like, okay, so you pretty much took away Season 0 for the sake of trying to appeal to
Marketing,
commodity
The
or in a
marketing.
market. But here's the problem. You got the show detailing one set of rules that ain't nothing compared to what's actually being sold. Example, in the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you start off with 2,000 life points, can summon any freaking monster you want, and then there's always a hidden field power bonus. But in the actual card game, here's the facts, and this is how it started. I'm not talking about later
When they added-
installments that
hold on.
introduced other things.
When they
You
added
had
magic cards.
No. We're talking about the standard Yu-Gi-Oh! When the
The
first season
original.
started,
The
the
original.
original. When the first season started and the first time it became available to the public as a marketing ploy, the rules were you had 8,000 life points, you had to tribute summon for monsters, and use cards as such, and you had to use either field cards, equip cards, trap cards, spell cards. Yes, there were spells, and some of
Magic.
them were even misprints as magic, and this created a lot of debate in tournaments. Like, oh, is this magic card and spell card the same thing, or they're two different things? They were hot topic debates, and then what it all came down to was it's the same crap. It's the same crap.
They were just taking space. Pick one. Spell or magic.
It was just because it was just a misprint. It was just a misprint, and because of that, like I said, by the end of the day, the show did not reflect anything on how the actual game worked. And I
Originally.
could probably see why.
You know, it's not like you can't believe in the heart of the cards, and all of a sudden you get all 5 pieces of Exodia.
Heart of the cards. This dude was using card effects that were not even okay.
Bro, the card effects that you can't even use in real games.
No, like he would use the cards, but he would use them in a way that only benefited him and had no chance.
He's the main
of
character,
being-
bro.
So
the
like he had
character.
the ultimate plot armor. Like,
Bro,
let me give you
bro.
an example. How the hell do you fuse Mammoth Graveyard with Ultimate Dragon, and then because my Mammoth card is an undead monster, your monster rots and decays? What card does that happen?
Bro.
Where's that card?
Bro, it's the same thing.
What rule states that you can fuse your monster
There's
with
no
his?
rules. There's no rules. He still can do it.
Imagine doing that in a tournament.
Oh, here's another one. Remember when he made all those freaking Karibos appears in that same episode, in that same episodic series,
Hold on.
just so he could protect his life points? But I'm like, excuse me, Yugi, but you can only get 5 tokens. 5 tokens.
But
he has like 1 million of them. He's like, you've created the ultimate attack. I've created the ultimate defense. How?
By cheating.
Bro.
He was just cheating the whole time.
Hold up. This is another great example that goes with it. It's like Pokemon. When Pikachu and Ash come up with this crazy strategy, you can't do that in the game. You can't make, dodge and use fucking Iron Tail at the same time. You can't do that in the game. You can only use one attack.
Quick, Pikachu! Use Thunder Shock on that tree!
It's like when you face Brock. When you face Brock, you cannot hit the fucking water what's it called?
Sprinklers.
Yeah, the water pipes. You fucking defeat Onyx with sprinklers. Like, what the fuck? You can't do that in the game. Like, what the fuck? It changed the whole concept, bro. Only the main characters can do it. Normal people can't do it. Only the main characters. You gotta kill it.
It was just funny.
The logic.
But you know something else that you can't do in a Pokemon game that you can do in the anime? You can beat Pikachu with just a starter Pokemon when he should be like almost level 100.
That's true.
Yeah, like I guess it suffers from like a level reset.
No.
like this is like every time he goes to a region, new game plus. I forgot how to do moves. Gotta learn them again.
Bro, he had Volt Tackle for like I think like 2 or 3 seasons, and out of nowhere he replaced Volt Tackle for like Electro Web, like
Electro Ball.
Wow.
No, Electro Web. In the new season, he used Electro Web. Before that,
I can see why. But then again, I can see why he would pretty much opt out of Volt Tackle because
of the recoil. Because of the recoil.
Yeah, it's too much recoil.
Let's go back to the topic, the whole animation, like you said, great example with Yu-Gi-Oh! But as it went to Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, a lot of things changed, even the art style, the concept, the storyline. But it went good, though. It wasn't that bad, unless you have a problem with certain... actually, wait. The series that I have certain problems with, the XYC serum.
Serum? Did you mean series?
Series. XYC series. I think that it has...
So you're talking about Zexel.
No, get the hell out of here. The worst one to me was when they introduced Pendulum. That thing is fucking stupid.
No. You get mad because I beat you. You had it to waste money. You guys had it to waste money.
So you can go fuck yourself.
Okay,
you gotta waste money against the beating.
I'd rather deal with what was that one card called? Super Fusion? I would deal with that shit.
You mean super polymerization?
Whatever it's fucking called. I don't give a shit. I'd rather deal with that than fucking Pendulum. Pendulum is just a fucking cheat code. It's like using a Monster Reborn that you can use 5 times in a row in one turn.
Hold on, you're making me cry.
You have to accept the fact that without Pendulum, you can never win anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just ignited a long-lost flame.
This is why I prefer the old Yu-Gi-Oh! When there was... Before all that bullshit came out. I like Synchro. I like fucking fusions. You know? Typical effect card. Even ritual cards. But
what about Link?
XYZ is an exception also. The worst one
Here,
out of everything
I give you a penny.
Pendulum.
Feel better. Back to the topic, Jesus.
All right.
I mean, white noise.
Yeah, we kind of derailed there for a moment, but it was heated discussion. It wasn't even
He's
discussed.
the
Why
one
you
that
go
brought it
back
up.
to the
He's
past?
the idiot that brought it up.
It's the
When he
animation.
started
We were talking
criticizing
about
about
the
XYZ, is
animation.
when the whole thing with Pendulum came out. So he
We
gets
were
put
talking
right
about the
on.
animation. Why no? We were talking
Oh
about
snap!
animation. He took
But
it
yeah,
personal.
Exactly. Animating Pendulum was stupid.
yeah. But matter what, these shows, for what they were worth and what confusing lore and gimmicks they brought upon, the animation for these shows, as we mentioned, for example, they pretty much gave a new array of light to further extend their audiences. So my next question is, or the next topic in terms of the main one, is like in terms of what kind of message they pretty much brought about when they made these changes. Now, Zaire said, and what Neo brought up, Dragon Ball pretty much entitled a whole new array of an audience, simply not just due to the fact that their story was more different
They
and
modernized it
they
too.
went and modernized it, but the fact that the visual appeal was just unlike anything they progressed, and it pretty much made a point that just because something's been around for more than 15 years, that doesn't mean it's out, done, and over with.
They did a great
Like
job.
this show,
They did a
this
great
show
job.
pretty much proved it wrong. Like there is still more work to be done.
But they did everything right. I mean, they actually got a new audience too. Not only the old audience, they got the new audience. The only problem that I have, I forgot what the anime is called or series with the kid with the video game, the Dragon Ball Z video game. He plays video game. He get into the
Oh,
um
what was it called?
I for-
I don't think it was Heroes. I forgot what it was called.
Are you talking about?
the one he plays in the arcade and then he goes inside the arcade and blah blah blah.
Not sure.
I forgot what it's called.
That's a series where this kid supposedly is playing the Dragon Ball arcade game. For some reason, he gets stuck inside with some of his friends. And he's a Saiyan also and all this shit. It's weird. I never saw it. I saw like the trailers and stuff, but I only saw like
I
Heroes.
mean,
That was like 7 minutes
I mean,
long.
I mean, we're only gonna stick to the main storyline because that's more of a subsidiary
Let me
side
bring some,
story.
let me bring something up, especially now that we're talking about animation, how animation has evolved like throughout the anime itself, the concept of anime. But let's bring this topic up. Especially White Noise and Neo. Your honest opinion. We seen it. We grew up. I seen it in Toonami. Inuyasha. They got a new series coming out. What
Oh,
do you
you're
think?
talking about Yashahime.
Yeah. What do you think of the new series? Do you think they're gonna do a good job? Are they gonna do the same as Dragon Ball Z?
All
Is
right.
it gonna be a new type of animation?
All right. All right. All
Hold
right.
on,
All right.
hey. I'm gonna say one thing only. One thing only. The only thing I like about what I saw from the show, the that I saw the artwork is Sashomaru's daughters. That's it.
Yeah. For to add on to that, the reason why I don't really I don't have the right to critique it right now is because I have not checked it out. I have a firm philosophy, and I'm pretty sure others have this philosophy as much as I do. That if you don't try, or if you don't try, or if you don't take the time to personally know something, you can't critique. You just ultimately cannot critique.
Will
And
you say
because
that?
and because this is a show, like I said, because this is a show I've been wanting to see for a while, yes, but I'm still waiting for the episodes to be finished with, or at least the first season if they do decide to keep going. I'm gonna wait on that for now because simply I just don't like waiting. That's just me. So
Do you like high
so
hope? Do you like
I don't.
have?
That's the thing. I don't have high expectations, but I also don't have low expectations. I'm
In other
just
words, he
kind of
just
in the
has
middle.
he's neutral about it for the moment. He's open
Yeah,
minded.
yeah.
Also,
I'm neutral because when Inuyasha ended, it ended, and they could have continued it with Inuyasha, but the show's title's not Inuyasha, it's Yashahime. So what can I expect to this show? I don't know.
Let me say something. I expect the show to be way better than Boruto. I'm saying that right now.
Ow. Wow.
Because fuck Boruto. That can go die.
That's a whole different topic.
That can go
Whole
die
different
with
topic.
COVID.
Whole different topic.
Oh,
To me, Boruto
okay.
is COVID.
Whole different topic.
God, if Boruto is like COVID
A whole
to you,
different
then I
topic.
can't imagine what One Piece is.
It was SARS.
The Ouroboros. Oh damn! No.
I know.
Okay.
Fruit Basket. Did you saw they released a new well they did a remake.
I have heard they did
Remake.
the remake of Fruit Baskets. I haven't checked it out, and once again, I cannot honestly give an opinion about it due to the fact that I have not sat down and watched the show.
It's a different art style, but I think it fits it.
Like I said,
I got a good anime that you can critique based off the animation.
I can't critique it. I can't. Like I was saying, I can't critique anything if I haven't sat down.
Yeah,
he has one.
You haven't seen the remake?
No, I've seen Digimon though. I've seen Digimon.
The remake?
Yeah, I've seen the remake.
Yeah.
That I have seen. That I can't critique.
You don't like
and
it?
I gotta say, it does well. It does well for certain parts of the animation in terms of the Digivolution, but again, it kind of lackluster due to the fights, and I felt like this wasn't working out. This is a prime example of progression done wrong. That's my honest opinion on that.
I mean, you know what it is? I think they just took too long.
No, it's not the fact that it took too long. You can take as long as you want,
but do it right.
But if you're gonna
like Fallout 76, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah,
he's really hitting different topics.
Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't matter how long you take. If the thing doesn't transition well, it doesn't matter. It just will not work. It's like a building that gets built and it has 72 floors, but if the foundation is not structurized the correct way, the whole thing comes stumbling down.
Yeah.
Hey, here's another good one to compare to that shit. The fucking Blue Exorcist, the second season.
Oh.
I tell you one
I don't
thing.
know Exorcist. Oh, damn. I gotta say this. That show really plummeted for me.
Hold on.
It plummeted so dang low.
It was
by the time the third season came out, I was like, no.
No, hold on. You know what it is? Like, I restarted rewatching it again, and I forgot about it, and as I saw it again, I was talking about the whole Blue Exorcist. Like, in the first season, Ren exposed his powers by accident because he has to protect his friends, whatever. And everybody's like, we hate you because of blah, blah, blah. You're the spawn of Satan. And then the second season, like, it doesn't make sense to me because even though he was exposed, they still accepted him. But in the second season, they went back to that hate. It's like they restarted the whole storyline, like they wanted to refresh something. And it just didn't make sense to me, you know? It was a weird way of transition. Like, it was pretty bad, in my opinion. I just liked the first season, but I just thought they left us a cliffhanger.
Well, to me, I'm also the same way when it comes to the first season. I enjoyed the first season. When I first saw the anime, I was really excited for the second season. But then when it came out, I was disappointed. More disappointed than a woman in bed with a guy that underperformed.
Wow. No comment.
I got no words. I got no words. But Anyway,
This is the unfiltered party.
Anyways, that's
anyway.
too unfiltered.
Someone has to do it. You guys are not doing it.
But anyway, um, that's just one of many prime examples of how certain animes um, portray a powerful message in terms of their development, in terms of their art style, and in terms of their storytelling.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as Eric said, and Neil mentioned, Blue Exorcist didn't quite deliver when it came to not only establishing correct story ground,
Mhm.
but the overall message. This just showed a, but it did show a message though. It did show a message though.
He needs to get
The
better.
message, no, the message it show is this is what happens when you try to rewash repetitive established ground, and it just doesn't work. It just
Like, if
doesn't
it
work.
doesn't work, just stop.
You know,
The fact that they released a third season,
yeah, a good anime that I can name right now that did its job very well in terms of art style, storytelling, and character introduction and such would be Code Geass.
I agree.
I know
I agree.
I know
I have
that
no objections about that.
I know that some people don't feel the same way, but to me, I feel like they did everything right, how it was supposed to be, from giving background information about most characters to even storytelling everything that was going on throughout the series.
Mhm.
I think they did a pretty good job, especially um even after the first, second season ended, they did a good job.
Heck, even the combat was pretty good. It was a lot better than what I expected.
It was
All right.
pretty much like, it had a mixture of everything too. It was like drama, mecha, all the stuff. Everything actually blended in perfectly instead of like, oh, just focusing on one thing. You know, and it actually proves a lot about the government too. It's basically what's happening now. White noise, it's your country. Do something.
Well, I'll
Wear a
put it this
mask
way.
and become a hero.
All right.
Actually, another one too would be like Full Metal Alchemist.
Uh,
Depends.
go on. Go on.
I'm not saying from like the later series, but I'm saying like at the beginning when if like the first
Yeah, it
season.
depends because there's Full Metal Alchemist, the original,
Yeah, no,
and then there's
I'm talking about the original.
okay then. Yeah, it's different.
That was really good. It was really well done. You know, from the tragic backstory to you know future events and all that. It was great. I enjoyed it very much.
All right, guys. Now comes the best question for today, and you must explain why. So, volunteers for this run is going to be Zaire first. Okay, so Zaire,
Go on.
what do you think is overall the best anime you've ever seen, and why? Why would you recommend it to someone?
All right. So I know my brother's gonna hate me for it.
No, no,
You know.
don't worry about it.
Hold on.
This
Hold on.
is our
No,
opinions.
no,
This is
no.
our opinions.
Not
Don't
hate
worry
me.
about it.
Not hate me. I know you guys just gonna have a different opinion about it, but this is anime that I saw that I think is very good made, especially with the new concept of the anime drawing, and it's called the Flower of
I
Evil.
knew it. I knew it. That's fucking
Mm-hmm.
good.
So
Interesting. Okay.
it's,
Can I
it's
explain?
all like, to be honest, you have this typical animes with big guy girls, big guys, all these like basic anime stuff. But in the Flower of Evil, the art concept is so different. It's realistic. It's just like a drawing. It For me, even the storyline is based on true events, that happens every day. So I'll give you an example. This guy, likes this girl, and he tried everything to get her attention and stuff like that. And one day she leaves her swimsuit, Japanese type of shit. And she leaves her swimsuit behind, and he grabs it and he's gonna give it to her, but he couldn't catch up. So what happened is that he took it home. But during that moment that he grabbed the clothes to bring it back to her, there was this girl, crazy fucking insane girl. She saw that, and instead of saying, oh, like he grabbed the clothes, she was just crazy. She was manipulated. She used that what she saw as to call him a pedophile, some etchy shit, typical, oh, you're a pervert type of thing. And he just manipulated the guy, into doing so many stupid shit. I recommend it. I'm not gonna try to spoil it, but it's an anime that I would recommend people to watch, unless you don't like psychological or like anime. But it's a great anime because the art style is different. It's not your typical big girl, big boobs anime type of thing. It's a great anime with a great storyline, with a great the fact that it doesn't change. It doesn't go from one thing to another. It sticks to the same program. It's like a soap opera practically. But in my opinion, it's pretty good. The animation, 10 out of 10. It's not your typical animation as everything else. But it's called The Flower of Evil. And if you haven't watched it, White Noise especially, you should watch it. It's very psychological. I don't
I
want to say
have,
much.
I haven't, I have never seen it, so I'll definitely give it a watch.
Yeah, but the fact that the art style is different, I think it makes it unique. And the fact that it is based on real people. And I could relate to some of the things, but, I recommend it to watch it. To
Sorry.
anyone. Neo over here,
Anyway,
I recommend him to watch it.
uh,
I don't want to spoil it. I don't want him to spoil it.
it's fine. It's fine. Listen,
I don't
listen.
want him to spoil
Every anime's not every. Well, yeah, anime of different genres is not for everyone. So
it. No, what I'm
that's to be
saying
expected. But
here's the
that's to
thing.
be expected. That's to be
Here's
expected.
the thing. Neo, I told him to watch it, and he was like, he only saw a few episodes from there.
Nah,
He
you
didn't
you
saw the
made me
full.
watch the whole thing. It was
All
horrible.
right,
But
all right, all right, all right.
he, he
What's
understand the
done is
art
done.
style though. He understand the art style that I'm talking about is different.
All
You
right.
know.
Well, what's done is done. Okay, Neo. What's your favorite anime, and why would you recommend it?
Well, it all depends. I got a favorite in almost each category that you can think of. But
All right.
What?
Well,
overall,
if you had to pick one,
but overall, I would go with Planet, and I will explain why. Planet is very
Classic.
much, if you're to think about it, like a soap opera. Where
hmm
real life events, things that actually happen to people, experiences, and so on. They have included that into an anime that you wouldn't think would have those type of things. You know, when I saw it at first, I was like, oh, this is like a typical anime. But then when I started getting into the story and stuff, then started seeing the first season, then the second, and then the after story and so on. It really hit me hard, and I'm like, wow, this is like real life events. They didn't make it too childish or anything. They made it into what you would expect from a how to say this.
slice of life.
Well,
It's more than just a slice of life.
no, because it is a slice of life, and it does a very well job to represent such a genre. It really takes the cake to that, and it would be something that you would expect from a soap opera, like you were to watch on TV, one of those like typical soap operas. But the fact that they made it to an anime is what actually um made me enjoy it and like it very much because I'm like, when you think of anime, the first thing you think of is Dragon Ball Z or Naruto, One Piece, Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho. These type of animes that are about fighting, fantasy, this and that. And it's so rare to find such an anime that could actually relate to what people are going through in the real life. So it's like that kind of got to me where it's like, wow, this is like a masterpiece to me, and I would 100% recommend it to anyone that would like to see it. They haven't seen it.
I agree. I agree because that's one of the good animes that, it doesn't focus on your typical etchy type of anime
No,
that people like.
no, no.
Mm.
It may not focus on it, but it has like a little bit of each genre, a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's balanced
But
perfectly.
it's mostly just slice of life. But that's what makes it, what it is. Overall, it's
And
an amazing anime. I would 100% recommend it.
All right.
your
That's pretty
turn,
good.
White Noise.
Well, comes down to me now. Okay.
Ooh.
Um, like Neo, there is a very multitude of lists of animes I could recommend depending on the genre. Um, as surprising as I like DBZ, there's only one anime I would recommend to anyone, and it's Yu Yu Hakusho. Here's why. Despite the fact that this dude is a freaking powerhouse and you see his story throughout the episodes and you come into realization he comes into realization of life lessons despite the supernatural occurring. And let me bring this up. The guy pretty much is at the beginning of the story, the guy is pretty much a freaking delinquent. He's a freaking delinquent. There's no question about it. He's a freaking troublemaker. He always likes to break the fourth wall and does whatever he wants. But as he progresses later in the story, he comes to the realization that despite all the crap he says on a daily basis, there's still things that matter to him. And I will never forget the Dark Tournament. Towards the end of the Dark Tournament, when he had finally obtained, I don't want to spoil too much, a certain point in his training that she basically, like his mentor basically told him before she was, presumed killed, like, do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? You can't be a cocky kid anymore. There's the decisions you make not only affect you, but the countless who are in your lives. So you have to constantly, you will constantly struggle. You will constantly try to outweigh what choices you have to make in order to get to point A to point B. And when you get to point B, everyone has their moment where they're gonna be gone. So you got to get as much done until then. And he understood that. He understood that all the freaking way. And aside the fact that it does have its humor, it does have its supernatural stories, but overall it has a great storytelling in such a sequence for an anime
It's well
that
balanced.
I don't think that's what it has a story sequence that I think DBZ cannot touch, simply because of the fact that not only does it work, but it leaves you wanting more each time. And then you come to grow with these characters, and not even the support characters feel left out because they're just as vitally important as the main casts and as the main protagonists. They're each important. Everybody has a role to fit and play.
It's well balanced.
And it's well balanced. And this is why. No, it's not like Sesame Street.
I'm joking. Relax.
No, it's not like Sesame Street. See, Sesame Street tries to cater to everyone. This anime doesn't cater to anyone. It just is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece that if you watch and you're able to just listen to the lore, and if you're okay with it, you're gonna love this story. You're gonna love it, period. And that's why I recommend it. The art style, granted, it is like early 90s. It's not on par with today's animation, but it doesn't try to be anything else. It tries to stick to what it's best at. And that's why I love this anime. Its roots, its lore, it sticks to everything it's supposed to do.
It doesn't pretend to be something else.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
this is why I don't put Dragon Ball Z up there, because once Dragon Ball and then ended and then Dragon Ball Z came, all the supporting characters from Dragon Ball began to just diminish. Their importance just flat out left.
Bro, the only character that's always diminished, Krillin. No matter what.
No.
Yamcha.
Krillin, Yamcha, Piccolo, Master
Chaozu.
Roshi, Chaozu, Tien, all these characters shelved. They don't have any relevance anymore.
Yajirobe.
Yajirobe. He didn't have any relevance in Dragon Ball. What?
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best one out of everybody. He went to open up.
No, you're wrong. The best. No, you're all wrong. There's only one best character, and that's Master Popo. But anyway. But anyway.
Master Popo.
But now that you've heard our 3 recommendations, if you have the time to check out these animes, do so. We recommend it. We stand by our decision. And that concludes today's episode of the Unfiltered Party. Be sure to leave us a like, subscribe. Make sure that if you have a topic you want us to discuss, leave it in the comment sections below, and we'll probably just end up taking it, and then we'll give you full credit for the topic and put it at the end of the video. All right, I'm White Noise 411. These are my 2 co-founders.
Bye.
Neox.
And we'll see you next week on our installments of the Unfiltered Party. Take it away.